There's a new man at the top at Compton Abbas Airfield. We spoke with Ben Perkins before Christmas on Alfred about his role in trying to turn around the fortunes of the facility, which has received some negative press on social media and review sites. He's been brought in by owner Guy Ritchie. Ben knows the sector and site well. He operates airfields elsewhere in the country, including his home base at Headcorn in Kent, and arranges the Spitfire flights and hosted the 2024 air show at Compton Abbas Airfield. After we posted our 2025 interview on Alfred's Facebook page, locals didn't hold back in sharing their thoughts and opinions about what was wrong with the airfield and what needs improving.
Some very, very, very useful feedback. I think we got up to about 350 comments in the end, didn't we? Actually, it was a really incredibly powerful tool to hear the genuine opinion of people in the locality and what they want to see from the airfield. So about late December, I presented it to the managers on site. So I'd copied every single comment from that post, put them in order of frequency, the number of times that people have referenced them, and tell me what we can do better. And we've largely enacted all of the changes here off the back of that kind of feedback.
People didn't hold back. Was it difficult to read at times?
At the time, I had the benefit of being afforded one stage of separation, so to speak. It's a new problem for me, and it's very important that we understand where the issues lied and where we could do better.
There was a strong theme that I suppose you could say, interpreted as people used to feel that the cafe, the airfield, was their special place, and now they feel, I can't find a better way of dressing this up, Ben, they feel it's for toffs.
Yeah, that was a one that ranked quite high on the frequency. Back in the day, it was a family-run, community-led, and with a high amount of community engagement. That has certainly been lost. We're abundantly aware of that. And if you recall, in the last interview, Gary, I shaped and explained a lot of my positioning around re-establishing this site as one of community value. So, and that's what we're working hard to bring back. Incentives to bring our local residents back on site, as well as having a 7-day-a-week operation up here with regards to the restaurant.
Many locals made comments about affordability. Ben says he's read those remarks and has taken action.
The biggest change is going to be more competitive pricing. So we've actually aligned what we're doing here with other local restaurants and pubs. A much broader menu offering. So it was very restricted before, and arguably not to the taste of many people. So that's been revamped in the short term to be more around the pub classics, and then going into the summer, it's going to be more about what we want, and very conscious of the fact that we need to deal to a very broad audience.
And Ben says he wants more drop-in custom, particularly at the height of the season.
And then we're going to shape it up even further going into the summer to really have a much broader swathe of options that people can pick from, whether that's popping in your aeroplane for a light bite, cycling up here, walking through the National Trust sites out to the west, and wanting to come up here for a cake and a coffee. We're going to cater for everything.
But of course, Ben doesn't own the airfield and its facilities. It's Guy Ritchie's, and in Guy Ritchie's other hospitality business ventures, there's a kind of vibe. A well-heeled urban but country set feel, if that makes sense. So does what Ben's talking about here align with that?
So I'm advising the team of managers here. I've bought in to do that role, an advisor rather than a manager. The managers on site have got free rein to make it work, obviously within the bounds of the aesthetic that Guy Ritchie would like to see. And so, you can't deny it's a fantastically successful business model in London. The difference here, of course, is the seasonality of the sites. There's a huge tourist trade that we can rely on in the summer, but it's not there in the winter. So we do need to be more broad brush. We need to cover what people want in this area, and we can't ignore that fact. So I haven't had any pushback whatsoever so far, and don't anticipate having any. The news has been the various changes have been very well received, and he's very supportive. In fact, everyone throughout the group of businesses is very supportive about the changes which are being enacted at the airfield based on the feedback that we've received.
Now, one of the ideas you had was to get more community engagement, clubs, organisations, charities being able to use it as a venue, as a space, as they might any space that's available. You put that offer out. Has anybody taken you up?
Yeah, so we've got local military charities using it as a training base. We're also revamping our flying membership up here and re-engaging with our base members, of which I'm getting well and truly involved in. I'm moving my aeroplane to be based at Compton, as well as looking at events that we can do and operate at the airfield to support local charities, such as the Air Ambulance.
Ben's looking at out-of-hours use, which could include some form of park run.
When we're closed as an airfield in the early hours of the morning, doing a run around the perimeter track, which I'm afforded that luxury every morning with the dog.
A lot of people will be very interested by talk of a park run, and it's obviously a very savvy and an aware move by Jade Salkeld, who is a town councillor and serves on the town council with Laura Wild, who's been pushing to try and find a venue for a park run because of all the rules and regulations about what kind of area can be used and what cannot. So is that a goer?
It's definitely in the works. So if anybody has any feedback or wants to offer any assistance, absolutely get in touch with Jade. She's got creative free rein to run with these events.
Restaurant opening would tie in with a park run so people could pop in for a cuppa afterwards.
Having finished a 5k run, that's 3 laps around the airfield here, I would certainly want a coffee. So that then aligns with the extended opening hours that we have with the restaurant now. So we want to keep our based flying members front and centre of what we're trying to do here, but of course there's room for everybody to come and enjoy the site as well. So as I said, if anyone has any means of assisting and offering Jade a helping hand to get it across the line, please.
There has been a few sort of false dawns in recent years about that, with sites that had been selected and for whatever reason didn't come off, but this does look like it could likely happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also in the planning, a singles night. Ben says the idea is to treat the cafe and facilities as a venue like any other, but with a special allure because of its location. He wants as many different events and activities hosted there as possible. That's the norm with other successful airfields.
The Goodwood, for instance, with the Festival of Speed, the Goodwood Revival, all of which use the aviation space, collaboratively. It's a huge site, and there are untold options that we have available to us to support the community with what we're doing, and as well as enjoy it for ourselves. It's all about making sure it's at the forefront of the community look and feel, and engagement is at the forefront of what we're doing, whilst also supporting our base members to make sure they have somewhere to fly from, they have somewhere to enjoy a bite to eat or a coffee after they've flown. Not to mention the number of people who would undoubtedly have come up here as children and watched the aeroplanes come and go and have later gone on to become airline pilots or otherwise. So I certainly know a handful of those people who are still based here, people who've been flying from here for 30 years. James, our head of aviation here, he used to be the pot wash in the old restaurant, and now he's leading aviation operations at the airfield. So the opportunities arising from what we can do here are untapped, really.
You've spoken about the change with the food. What about the hospitality? Because there have been people who have been negative about the greeting they get. It's
justified, and it's all been taken on board. So the changes are being enacted to address that, as well as the site being a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. Bear in mind, in the winter it's relatively quiet and always will be, because most of the activities here are fair weather activities. And then in the summer, we've got the other side of the coin, with hundreds of people coming through the site on a day, and making sure that we have a scalable service model such that we can meet expectation and demand as required. So it's well and truly in the works, and I'm very confident that we will have in place a much more effective solution come the peak season, which for us is April through to September.
And throughout that peak period, through until December, the C13 road from Melbury Abbas through Diners Hollow will be closed.
It's definitely going to have an impact on us. Whether it's a positive or negative one is the jury's still out, because many people are using the Boundary Road now as a diversion to go across the back of the airfield, arguably giving us a bit more exposure. But I would say, and it is just my gut feel at the moment, that there has been a slight increase in the amount of traffic using the boundary road. But Diners Hollow, when we get to the summer and there's more traffic, just means that we're absolutely going to have to be on our A game when it comes to managing parking here and making sure that we don't spill over into the road, because that option no longer exists. And we do have some grass areas on site behind some of the temporary or poly hangers to the eastern end of the airfield that we can use as an overflow if we feel that there's any issues arising. But we're just going to have to really keep our eye on what's going on there.
Ben Perkins, who's steering future plans at Compton Abbas Airfield. Many locals said what they thought. Maybe you shared your views. Ben says message received and understood. And we'll see whether changes intended to encourage the community back do succeed as the season progresses.